Philosophy is chock full of insights into our own mortality. How do we confront this inevitable end? How should we live in response? Should we fear our eventual death, or try to look at it more positively? This is great and all, but there seems to be a lack of consideration for how we might deal with the loss of a friend or a loved one, and I'm not sure why that is. After all, you're gonna be experiencing more deaths of other people than just your own singular death, and the passing of others can have a significant impact on your life, while your own death, well, there's not really any need to concern yourself with your life at that point. But after searching, I came across the Stoic philosopher Seneca, having written a letter entitled On Grief for Lost Friends. Some of it I find agreeable, other parts not so much. But together, by going through it, perhaps we could better confront the mortality of those we love. Seneca starts off by kinda saying there's almost a golden mean of sorrow we should aim to feel. Sure, we can and will feel sad, but don't go into excess. Let not the eyes be dry when we have lost a friend, nor let them overflow. We may weep, but we must not wail. Now, this idea of a perfect balance of sorrow is kinda difficult to see. There's a lot of variables involved with the death of another that makes it difficult to discern what the appropriate response would be. For example, our response to a spouse dying is going to be much different than our response to you stepping on an ant. Furthermore, I wouldn't want to stop someone from feeling and expressing their sorrow even to a large extent, if that's how they truly feel. Sometimes the philosophy of Stoicism is hit with the critique that it suppresses emotion, and while I don't really agree with this, I do see that possibly being the case here. It doesn't seem to me a good idea to bottle in your emotions, even if it's at a level that Seneca would consider too much. However, there is a caveat. I think if the sorrow turns into destructive behaviors, like drinking or doing drugs, then I think we might consider that to be the extreme. But that's less about the emotion itself and more about the actions stemming from that emotion. Still, although we may encourage the free flow of our emotions during times of sorrow, keep an eye on the practical actions that result from that too. Next, how should we reflect on this loved one after their passing? Seneca quotes this guy Attalus, who talks about how having the person alive and in your company is like enjoying cakes and honey. It's sweet. But after their passing, it's still sweet but with some bitterness. Seneca disagrees, and thinks the recollection should be fully sweet. To me, the thought of my dead friends is sweet and appealing, for I have had them, as if I should one day lose them. I have lost them, as if I have them still. I kind of view this as a result of time. When the death is recent, we might be like Attalus, and remember them sweetly but also with that hint of sadness due to the passing. At my grandfather's funeral, we all sat around reminiscing about him and his life and fun little anecdotes. That was the sweet side, but at the same time, it was still a funeral, and there was that sadness in the background. Now that a year has passed, when I remember my grandfather, it's fully just the joy of recollecting my memories of him, not much sadness. Sure, there's times where I wish he were still here so I could tell him about this or that, but as I write this now and remember him, I only feel the sweetness. Now, Seneca talks about how we should reflect on our loved one's mortality, so that we greedily enjoy their company, and I agree with him on that. What I don't agree with is that he suggests that we should get friends to replace them. If a man who has lost his one and only tunic through robbery chooses to bewail his plight, rather than look about him for some way to escape the cold, or for something with which to cover his shoulders, would you not think him an utter fool? First of all, this analogy doesn't really work for loved ones and family members, but that's kinda on me, cause this letter is entitled On Grief for Lost Friends. But still, maybe it's my naive American individualism, but I see each person and therefore friend as a unique entity. You can't simply replace them like they're a piece of clothing. You're gonna miss what makes them them. And I think just running to someone else instead of facing their death is gonna miss the point. Now after this, Seneca has this thing about how women grieve a lot and it's pathetic, and grieving for men is seen as dishonorable. Look, not once in this entire Philosophy Channel's history have I invoked the "we're in modern times and have moved past that" excuse, but here, I think it's fair to use, right guys? Thankfully though, Seneca finishes off on some good advice, and reminds us to reflect not only on our own mortality, but the mortality of our friends. Therefore, let us continually think as much about our own mortality as about that of all those we love. In healthy doses, I think this reflection is important. It not only gets us familiar with death, so it isn't such a big shock when it happens, but it can also act as a kick in the pants to get out there, start really living life and making the most out of it. But most importantly, spend quality time with friends and family as well, because they won't always be here either. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.